Hello, everybody, Ravens and Orioles fans. Welcome to this week's version of Ravery Sports. So, thank you for joining us this week. However, you're joining us on all of our social media platforms. Particularly, we do this every week on Facebook and YouTube. So, definitely, you could be watching us the whole stream, our main stream, what we call it, on Facebook and YouTube. All right, so let's get a little housekeeping going on here. I'm going to go ahead and put our banner up for our businesses. Yes, we are. So we got go ahead and ravorisports at gmail.com. If anybody out there is looking for any merchandise, Ravens and Orioles jerseys or Baltimore sports jerseys or anything like that, you could go ahead and send it to the email address here. Place it right across the bottom of the screen. It's magic, just like that. There. So we're going to set it right there at the bottom of the screen. And if you are looking for anything, you can go ahead and send it out to the email. Merchandise store is coming soon. Just a little bit of a delay, but it will be open. It's going to be fantastic when it opens. You're going to love it right there. Also, my business, Genesis Notary Services, Facebook/Facebook.com. You can book an appointment right on the website if you are in the Shenandoah Valley area. So definitely, if you do need some notary services, notary business, we can go ahead. I'll go ahead and get that taken care of for you. Stamp the docs with care anywhere in the Shenandoah Valley area. So we're happy to go ahead and do that for you as well. So welcome to our mainstream this week. Ravery Sports, welcome to Ravery Sports this week. And two other bits of business I want to go ahead and talk about. This wouldn't be remiss without saying this is Veterans Day coming up this week. So I'm recording this, it's a day away. So if you haven't heard it yet, let me be the first to wish all the veterans happy Veterans Day. Thank you for everything that you sacrificed for all of us with your military service. People have no idea what vet sacrifice. It's beyond anything that some people can imagine. And I'm talking about everyone. So it's a lot. It's sacrifice to your country, sacrifice, breaks up marriages, cost you a lot and a lot of times. So thank you very much. And again, this week also, a little more personal, 45th year around, 45th year around the sun for me. So thank you, and I thank everybody that supported me all this time. So I'm very grateful for everything this year. It always hit a little different for me. Had to make a lot of changes, and I'm very grateful. So thank you. All right. So let's get down to business. Let's talk a little football. The Ravens. And we had a game on Monday night. The Ravens and the Saints. We're going to go ahead and go over it. I did a stream, a little react the next day because I wasn't able to do it right after the game. So I thought it was the best Ravens performance of the year. I can't remember a game where I was more impressed with both sides of the ball. Really was. Fantastic. I thought the Ravens were good on both sides. Let's go over the offense first. Lamar, 12 for 22, 133 yards on one touchdown pass, 11 rushes, 82 yards. I thought it's almost you run out of superlatives. I thought that was his best rushing game. He made some cuts that was just fantastic in that game. I thought Lamar was incredible running the ball. I thought he was efficient passing the ball. It was interesting considering, look, no J.K. Dobbins, no Gus Edwards, no Mark Andrews, no Rashad Bateman the whole year. That was the first time I think we've seen Deshaun Jackson. All that, and they scored 27. Really, they run the ball. This is a running team. I think they do better running the ball. I thought Lamar was great running the ball in this one. Kenyon Drake, the production has went up exponentially since the beginning of the year. Barely at I mean, not even 2 yards because Kenyon Drake. Last couple games, he's had an opportunity 22 for 93 and 1 TD. I think the biggest improvement for me for Drake as he's going forward is the line play has been much better. So let's go and shout him out. Ronnie Stanley, Ben Powers, Tyler Linderbaum, Kevin Zeitler, Morgan Moses, and Patrick McCarry. Fantastic. All 6 guys. McCarry, they rotate in and out. I think it helps them a lot. Their line play has improved a lot. Lamar had plenty of time to throw when he did throw in this one. When he was throwing Isaiah Likely in the end zone. He did have the 1 reception, 1 TD pass. Bright future, this guy, Isaiah Likely. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. I've seen it. I think I've seen every time he's played. I think you saw it in preseason, and I've seen it in these 2 games. When Andrews isn't on the field, he's very effective. Very effective. When he can continue to get opportunities, he's not necessarily a blocking back. Not that he's not that he's a super poor blocker, but he's not like Nick Bull when they were using him, when he's just a blocker on the other side. So it'll be interesting to see. He's a receiver, and that's I think that'll be interesting to see how they use him going forward, because I think he's got a bright future. Can he continue the production when Andrews gets back? So that's the thing. Let's take a look here. Justin Houston. We've talked about him a couple weeks, and Justin Houston again. I made the stat earlier. We haven't had a guy since Terrell Suggs retired with double-digit sacks. That's about to change. Justin Houston with 2.5 sacks, INT. The whole defensive line and linebackers, it's proved so far from the beginning of the year, it's unbelievable. Where basically you had Houston and Owe kind of just struggling. With now Houston with the more depth there, he can kind of be on pitch count, and he's a lot more effective in that situation. Pierre Paul is in there. Tyus Bowser was in there again this week. I didn't see David Ajabo, but Adafi always still in there. There's depth there, and also Roquan Smith. Wow. I mean, you saw it right away, the difference between him and Patrick Queen, hitting those gaps right away every time, flying to the ball. You've turned a weakness now into a strength. Now you're not relying on corners to cover for forever, right? You're not relying on them to be Superman, just covering these corners with no pass rush. They are getting to the passes. They are stopping. They're getting in those rush lanes as well. Calais was good. So whole defense, I thought, was real good. Saints, that's an Andy Dalton day right there. I'm going to put the graphic up, 19 for 29. He used to kill the Ravens a lot. I mean, when he was with Cincinnati. I don't think the Saints offense is that bad. They just didn't look good. They got pressured a lot. And Dalton, if he ever was, certainly at this point in his career, not the type of guy that has the athletic ability to get away. Not bad though. I mean, 19 for 29, more passing yards than Lamar. But the 1 TD, the 1 rush, the 1 TD run interception rather. I think the Saints actually have a lot of talent. The more I looked at them, I think they're better than the record. I think if they had Drew Brees still on the team or a quarterback at that level, I think this is just playoff team. They just look a little deficient. They have a serviceable guy. That's what I mean. Andy Dalton, I would call him serviceable. Kamara was contained pretty well. 9 carries, 30 yards, 3 receptions for I think that's wrong. For 32 yards. I thought Kamara was contained well. When you got to play the Saints, this guy is phenomenal in several phases. And he really didn't do much. I think they really made a concerted effort to key on him. Really concerned. He really didn't see any of those what I call Kamara type runs where he's really just sticking his shoulder down and running over people. And I mean, he had some yards, but I thought he was fairly contained. I think also too, the Ravens had a lead a lot of this game, so that also helped contain the run game. Guy might be rookie of the year, Chris Overlay. I think I'm saying it right. 6 catches, 71 yards. Really has stepped up since Landry, Jarvis Landry rather, and Michael Thomas have been out. I think he's probably going to be your best guy going forward. If you're a Saints fan, you ought to be happy about that. I think they're going to make some decisions with Michael Thomas and Landry going forward. This is going to be your guy. I thought he was ineffective, mostly because the Ravens defense was so effective. Although he was the one guy I think had a decent day. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Demario Davis, for them, 7 tackles, 1 sack. He was the most notable guy for me on the Saints defense. He's been good for a long time. I didn't realize he was like 32 or 33 years old. So I thought he had a decent enough day. A lot of the tackles down the field, and that's what you want to see with him. You don't want him on the line of scrimmage and everything like Rocone was doing on the other side. So a lot of tackles, but a lot of them were down the field. He's definitely the captain, leader of that defense. They had a lot of good defensive players. I mean, so Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, a lot of good players on their team. Cam Jordan, Marcus Davenport. So I think they have some players there, but the Ravens run game was way too much for them. They were just running over them. The offensive line was too much. So good performance, I think, impressive for both sides on the Ravens. So no game next week. So I think the Ravens look like Super Bowl effective the first time this year, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. They've looked like previous or the rest of the year like a decent team to me, but not a team that can hold that Lombardi trophy over the head. This is a team that can hold the Lombardi trophy over the head. Absolutely. They definitely have the ability here. The only thing that concerns me is the wide receiver situation. And I'm going to make a separate video about that. I'm not going to put it in the mainstream because it would take too long. But they definitely look like a team that can compete with any other teams in the NFL. So there you go. There is our review of the Ravens and the Saints. I think we're all happy. Ravens have a bye week this week, so they are not going to be playing this weekend. So definitely enjoy the other games if you like the rest of the NFL. And we're going to go ahead and when they come back against Carolina Panthers, we'll go ahead and review that one next week and do that. So in the fact that we don't have a game this week, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a little review / preview. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and review my NFL preseason predictions, kind of go over each team a little bit, and then we're going to give out some mid-season NFL awards. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that squared away. So let's take a look. The East. This is how I had it as far as preseason predictions. Buffalo is about right. They're definitely, I think, if not the best team, certainly one of the best teams in the NFL. That's correct. Allen injury is worrisome. He takes a lot of hits, but otherwise they're fantastic. Stephon Diggs, I think, is still underrated. As good as he is. Great receiving core. Defense is fantastic. Von Miller has been just tremendous. I like Jordan Poyer a lot. I think nobody talks about him. He's been great for them as well. But the only caveat here is are you going to have Josh Allen? How injured is he for the rest of the year? Very important. 2 and 3, Miami and New England. That's about kind of what I thought. Miami, I think the question is Tyreek Hill. You figure Tyreek Hill is going to help them. Tyreek Hill has been sensational, period. He's far and away been the best receiver in the league this year. It's not even close to Tyreek. I don't think there's anybody. I mean, even like the Jamar Chases, with the injury, Devontae, Tyreek Hill has been far and away the best. And Jalen Waddle has been good for him. Explosiveness on offense. Defense hasn't been as good, but I mean, they've scored so many points. New England's about what I thought of the Patriots. That's about in the middle. They look good sometimes. They don't have a ton of talent. I would say defensively they're better than I. Belichick's defenses always thought were overrated. Frankly, I thought they were very bland-ish. I think this defense really has some juice. I mean, Matt Judon, Charles Bentley, Bentley, also they have Devin McCourty still there. Jack Jones, the rookie, has been really good. I mean, so they have some players in New England. Let's see how much better Mac Jones does. And the Jets, no joke this year. I mean, really running the ball. Robert Saleh went over Buffalo. So they all of these teams may wind up in the playoffs. The Jets, I think, are the most surprising. They're just decided to run the ball. They're going to take the ball out of Zach Wilson's hands and run the ball. C.J. Mosley, they have some players. So good for the Jets. We'll see how far they get. In our division, the Ravens, best team in the division. I think it's about. This looks about like I was thinking. The Ravens are the best team. Cincinnati's right behind. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what their back end isn't good outside of Logan Wilson on defense. Von Bell's played well for them. I think that's probably where they're inconsistent the most, like on defense. Some weeks they're good, some weeks they're not good. I think it's weird inexplicably. If with the players they have, you would say Cincinnati, they could be one or two, but some weeks they just don't show up. But they're right behind the Ravens. I think they're in the playoff fight. I think they definitely in the playoff run. Steelers are terrible. That I didn't expect. The quarterback situation, that kind of like you had a Hall of Famer retire, you're playing a rookie. I think what's surprising me is how bad the defense is. I know you lost J.J. Watt, but they really look terrible. So they're farther away from the Ravens and the Bengals than I thought. The Browns, we're still waiting for Deshaun Watson. I think that's the biggest commentary on them. I mean, they're playing Jacoby Brissett. They've been a bit of a mess. They've been in some close games. I think they're better than Pittsburgh. To me, I think they've had more fight than Pittsburgh. But we'll see when Deshaun Watson, which isn't going to be too much longer to actually see him, and they can really kind of kickstart things once they get that part behind them and actually get him on the field. This division is pretty much like I thought. The best coach, I think, one of them in the NFL, Mike Vrabel, strong defensive coach. Derrick Henry, a little bit of a slow start. He's just running over people now. He's fantastic. I don't think it matters who the quarterback is, too. Whether it's Malik, well, I think Tannehill, he'll be back in there, but Malik, I don't think it matters. They're going to basically have the same strategy as long as they have Derrick Henry. Even without Derrick Henry, they're going to just try to bring you over. Defensively, I think they're coming along as well. In this division, a very weak division, easily the best team. I'll save the Colts here for a second. Jacksonville, I think, is limbo. I think we're waiting. I think I was thinking like maybe when they beat the Los Angeles Chargers, man, they're going to be coming along, and you got to watch out for Jacksonville, and and they kind of regressed a bit. You know, they won last week, so we're still kind of waiting on Trevor Lawrence. Still kind of waiting. Still, we wouldn't put him in bust. We wouldn't put him in great yet. So we're still kind of waiting. And the Texans are just not good. Dameon Pierce, I think the rookie running back. I mean, they may have found something. Davis Mills, I put him in the serviceable category. He's good enough. I'll say he's definitely not a franchise quarterback, but I think he's good enough. I think I kind of put him and Goff in the same category with this group of players. It's not going to help you having a guy like that. So I think they're on the clock. I mean, they're just trying to get better, waiting for the draft, trying to get the coaches to square. The Colts, I mean, they're great for content creator. They're a mess. They keep saying stupid things. They fired Frank Reich. I thought he was the only guy who had a clue in the building. They hired Jeff Saturday with no experience at all. A good ESPN commentator, smart guy with absolutely no experience. You put him in charge. Ursay and Ballard, they're just a gift that keeps on giving. They keep saying it doing stupid things. And what I usually get them, I mean, they just beginning of the year. I mean, I've said this the last couple of years. They've had the most cap. I mean, every year they have the most cap space. They don't want to pay anybody. The only thing I think that's helped them is the other two teams really haven't come along yet. That's the only thing that's really helped them. And Matt Ryan didn't work either after they ran the quarterback down, after they blamed Wentz for all your problems. So, yeah, Tennessee is easily the class of that division. The West. So this was the best division in football. I predicted at the beginning of the year. The Chargers, I have them in first. A lot of injuries on the Chargers. Some things haven't worked out. I think J.C. Jackson in the offseason hasn't worked out. I think he's on IR now. He was struggling, frankly, when he was playing. Bosa, Joey Bosa's missed a bunch of games for them. They've had some injuries. Their wide receivers get hurt a lot. Like Keenan Allen has missed some games. Mike Williams, I think, missed some games. I mean, so I don't know if we've seen the best of the Chargers this year. They're definitely below Kansas City. Kansas City, even losing Tyreek Hill, it's maybe hurt them, but not enough for them to lose games. I think Juju Smith-Schuster's really stepped up for him. He's not Tyreek Hill by any stretch, but he's definitely really helped them along a lot. And they're scoring a lot of points still. Mahomes it wasn't the end of Mahomes losing Tyreek Hill at all. I think nobody's really challenged him. I think the only problem with KC, their run defense is bad. They're not. When you get into the playoffs, that's going to be a thing. You're gonna have to stop the run, especially like team you talked about, Tennessee, Baltimore. Like I can see that really hurting them. They're gonna have to shore that up a bit. The Raiders kind of are what I thought. Decent enough team, but they're in the wrong division. They've lost a lot of close games. Carr, this is kind of again with Carr, like he kind of regresses a bit, like not as effective as he was. So that's kind of the thing with Carr, not scoring enough points. You figure they get Devontae Adams. I mean, it would help them on offense, and but again, I don't think they're kind of what I thought they were. They're kind of the best team with not a great record. Denver has been disappointing, even though I had them in fourth. Russell Wilson, OMG, he's getting exposed. I just go flat out. He's getting exposed. I think he's hurt, quote unquote. And he may be hurt. I don't know. I hope that's what the problem is. I think Russell, too, is not he's got to step up. He's got to step up. I'm seeing some things like they're giving you all this money. They're putting their faith in you. And you got to step up. He's got to be the alpha in the room when they kind of give you that much money. Defensively, they got rid of Chubb. They made some changes. Fascinating to see what happens with Denver going forward. They're not going to win this year. Not in this division. They're not going to do anything this year in this division. So no longer the NFC least. Dallas I had in first. Dallas is pretty good. I say it with Dallas all the time. Whenever people say, well, Dallas isn't any good. Look, you have Michael Parsons on your team. If you have DeMarcus Lawrence on your team, and you have Tavon Diggs on your team, you have a good defense. That's enough right there to do a lot. The running backs, people keep talking about Tony Pollard and Elliott. I don't care. They're both solid backs. they're going to share carries anyway. I don't think they're more of a tandem anyway. I don't think if you'd ask Mike McCarthy and those guys, that's what they were saying. I don't care who gets more than the other. They're both effective backs. I think they're both solid backs. I think they're not better than Philadelphia, who has been undefeated, phenomenal. I had the question about Jalen Hurts. Could he take the step up? And he's one of the best players in the NFL this season, no doubt about it. Having A.J. Brown made a huge difference for them. I think about that with Lamar all the time, seeing how Jalen Hurts has improved with a guy like this. And Tua Tagovailoa, back to Miami, said, with a guy like this, it's been phenomenal with it. And you got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown especially. And their defense is top flight as well. I think this is right up there with Buffalo and San Fran as far as some of the best defenses in the league. And they've had an easy schedule, frankly. I mean, they haven't had a lot of tough games. I mean, they haven't had a lot of big. I mean, they beat Minnesota. So, yeah. So I think Philadelphia could be right there representing the NFC. Currently the best team, I think, totally in the NFC, no question. The Commanders. Oh, what a quandary these guys are. I don't know if Ron Rivera is a good coach or a bad coach. I have no clue. Like, sometimes I listen to him and watch his team play, and he looks, man, this guy is really. And then other times, what's wrong with your team? Ron is like the quarter. Like, I can't. That's kind of what reflective of the coach. This is kind of where they live. I would say they're not a complete train. I mean, Terry McLaurin, I like. Wentz, I like more than other people. I think he's solid for him. I think talent. They have really good backup to talent. I think like missing some games. So I think they're fighting hard at times. The Giants, I think, are the biggest surprise in the league. Giants. A lot of people thought they were ready on the contract. They definitely found a good coach in Brian Daboll. There's no doubt about it. His energy, you can just feel it through the screen, even watching the game. Getting Wink Martindale. I'm not a big fan of Wink as far as for the Ravens, but I think he's really helped there. He's exactly what you need in that situation. They don't have a ton of talent, but his scheme's exotic. I think it's really helped them. Giants should be in the playoffs, I think. I think you could have 3 playoff teams in this division. So as well. The North, oh, wow, the Packers, what a mess. Oh, I was thinking it really would hurt them not having Devontae Adams there. It has really torpedoed them. Terrible. Their offense looks like a pop gun now compared to Alan Lazard, I guess, is Aaron's guy, but man, I figured there'd be some diminish. Kansas City, I think, is you lose your guy. There's some. It has been way past that. Offensively, and for whatever reason, the defense hasn't been as strong as well. They've given up more points, I think, than they realized. So they're not going to be in the playoffs. Minnesota's won this division. Minnesota is, I believe, 4 games ahead. Nobody, you're not going to catch. Green Bay not going to catch Minnesota. Minnesota, I think, barring a miracle of some kind of crazy collapse with them, they're definitely going to win the division. I don't think the Packers are going to the playoffs. I think Fields for the Bears showing signs of life. I think that's big for them. They did get rid of Roquan Smith. They did get rid of Robert Quinn. They did get rid of some defensive guys. They picked up Chase Claypool. That's good. So it looks like they want to show their quarterback some support. They did have the win in New England. There's reason to hope for the Bears, I think. I don't think they're not going to catch Minnesota, but there's definitely reason to hope. And the Lions are in their usual 4th place spot. I don't. People seem to like Dan Campbell. He kind of like. I kind of use him for the example with all the criticism Paul Hackett's getting in Denver. Like Paul Hackett has 2 bad games. He needs to be fired. Dan Campbell, his team is like lousy for 2 years, and nobody says anything. Oh, he's a great. So I don't get it, but Minnesota definitely best team in the North. The South, I was worried in the beginning of the year like something was off with Brady, and definitely that's played out. A little off. Not really hitting receivers, missing receivers vis-a-vis age or whatever the issues are. Not Brady like, not Bucks like. But I'm watching them. When I watch them, I don't really see a huge lack of talent there. I think they possibly can turn it around and win the division, especially since this division is awful. So definitely, I think they definitely can win the division. Still, defensively, they're not stopping the run. I think that's really hurting them on defense. They got to stop the run and not scoring a lot of points. But I think they could possibly turn it around with some of the talent that they have. The Saints, they need quarterback. That's what's wrong. They have some pieces. Chris Olave, I think, is going to be a receiver. They still have Kamara is effective. Once he got out of his trouble, was on the field. I think they have some guys on defense as well. The Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, Cam Jordan. They have some players. I think they're getting a little older on defense, so that might not help them. But they need a quarterback. I think that's what's wrong with that. Carolina, rebuilding. They did the right thing, firing that rule. They don't have a quarterback. They traded away McCaffrey. They didn't trade away DJ Moore. I know the Ravens, and I'm sure the Ravens or the team's trying to get him. So they did the right thing. Just blow it up. Look for a head coach next year in the offseason. See if you can try and get Sean Payton or anybody else that's out there. I like to think they just went ahead and did it. They didn't wait around. In Atlanta, even though they're in first, I think they're kind of benefiting from a weak division. Marcus Mariota is not terrible at all. I think the biggest problem with him is him staying healthy. So I think they've won a lot of close games. So I mean, even though they're in first, they're not. Maybe somebody from this division is getting into the playoffs, but maybe like if Tampa continues to struggle, they'll get in. But I think again they're on the clock. So I mean, I think they're waiting. The West, man, what a difference a year! What a difference! This is probably upside down. Let's start with the Rams. The Rams' offense has been not good. It's weird to even say that about the Rams. Their offensive line is terrible. They're getting pushed around in front. This is why the Niners keep beating them. They're getting shoved around the front. Look, Wentworth retired. I think they're on their third center. What's surprising me is Allen Robinson hasn't been able to get going as good as he's been most of his career. And I think it is because of that. And I don't know what's going on with Cam Akers there. He was back this week. He was out. He was home for personal reasons. And I'm a little confused about what's going on there with those guys. I don't think they turn around either. I think they missed the playoffs. Arizona, same. You got Hopkins there. Kyler Murray's been inconsistent. Their defense has been inconsistent. I think just describing in one word, they're inconsistent. I think they have some decent players, but they're inconsistent all the way around. They look good at times, but just they're not good enough. I mean, not consistent enough. I think I'll be shocked if Kingsbury gets to stay at the end of the year. They're just not week to week. They just don't. They have better talent, but they're getting knocked around too much. 49ers, I mean, the best thing that could have happened to them, and I don't want to make it light too much, but Trey Lance getting hurt. Putting Garoppolo in, that's changed everything. They're beating the Rams twice. They're definitely in playoff position. They went and got Christian McCaffrey. This team might, a lot of people think they're the best team in the NFC. I don't go that far. They're really good. They seem to be, again, more inconsistent. I think the only problem is, like, Garoppolo's inconsistent at times. They can get a good run from him. They definitely are right there. But some weeks he just doesn't play well. I think this is why Shanahan gets frustrated. And Seattle, my goodness. Geno Smith, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. How about that? Nobody saw that. I almost forgot he was in the league. For real. I mean, he's been great for them. When you see a team like Seattle come from nowhere like this, what happens is they got a lot of good young draft picks. Got a good young player. And Kenneth Walker is absolutely fantastic. DK Metcalf is still there. Lockett. They kept the receivers. That's why I'm making a receivers review up there. And they've really turned it around. I mean, definitely. They are absolutely the best team in this division. They're not fraud at all. I think them and the Niners are going to be battling out. Definitely didn't see that coming with the Seahawks. I think the biggest surprise, in the whole NFL. All right, so there you go. Predictions, midseason awards. Josh Allen. I put him over Hurts by just a hair. The injury might change things. We're talking about what they've done so far. Allen, I think, is the MVP. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but he's third. Hurts, I think, has been sensational. This is a great story. Jalen Hurts, what he's been able to do, how he's been able to improve. Here's a guy who was benched in the championship game a few years ago for Tua Tagovailoa. Got out of town, went to Oklahoma and played. Considered a running quarterback. Didn't have enough. Became a passing quarterback. Got stats. Picked up in the second round. Hurts' progression has been incredible. Defensive player of the year, Micah Parsons. I don't think it's close. I like Jordan Poyer. I'm going to surprise some of you and not put him and not put Von Miller there. I think Jordan Poyer has been great considering that he's Micah Hyde. He's very underrated. Zadarius Smith in Minnesota. Fantastic. Ravens almost had him, but then he went ahead and signed. I think Zadarius has been incredible. Also, a couple weeks, I almost put Matt Judon on the list as well in New England. It's been fantastic as well. But Micah there's nobody like him. Call him an inside linebacker, great blitzing, great everything. Well, defense. There's no such thing as a Micah Parsons. So fantastic season so far. We just saw this week Chris Olave, probably the offensive rookie of the year. I put him over Kenneth Walker. I think him from minute one, he's been really good. That's why him over the running backs. Walker, I think, has a bright future. And boy, is he on the right team for this. Playing with Pete Carroll, playing with the Seahawks, they're going to run the ball. You're going to get your opportunities. Damian Pierce, it's a fine for a bad team. I think he's the one guy you're going to keep in the Texans. I think they're going to be looking at other positions beside him. Look, not a first round pick. I mean, just came out, played very well for them. So good job. Defensive rookie of the year, hot sauce. I can put it like that. Hot sauce, Gardner. I love watching him. He kind of reminds me of Jalen Ramsey a lot. His attitude, tight coverage on receivers, loves to go man-to-man with really good receivers, and you can see it right away. That's what makes a good DB. Can you play man-to-man with good receivers and knock the ball down and contain really good receivers? Very, very, very hard to do what I just said, even with the rules now. And hot sauce Gardner is definitely doing. Tarek Wooten, I think, added not been for Gardner right there. Very good corner for Seattle. Like I said with Seattle, when you get a team come from nowhere, getting rookies come from nowhere. This guy, not from nowhere, but better than I think Aiden Hutchinson, who's really good. Aiden Hutchinson was an early draft pick, more expected. So I thought Aiden Hutchinson has been really good for Detroit. Again, bad teams. So it's a little tougher to tell. But I think the first two guys offensively contributing to winning, to contributing. He's Hot Sauce contributing to winning more than the other two. Saquon Barkley, comeback player of the year. A lot of people have Geno Smith. I didn't put Geno Smith. Geno Smith, I would put him more in the most improved category. He wasn't a great player before. He's having his best season, so I can't really say comeback player of the year. Saquon absolutely is. Saquon has been fantastic for a Giants team that's really turned around. So Christian McCaffrey also too has been there as well. Been fantastic for him. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, has a resurgent season. He's definitely going to make himself a lot of money in the offseason. Pete Carroll, coach of the year. What he's done in Seattle is beyond incredible. Tough division with a Super Bowl team last year. And they're in first place. And I think they're easily the best team. Brian Daboll equally is explicable. I don't think the Giants are as good as their record, though. But, hey, Daboll's done a great job. Culture is definitely there. They needed that bad in the Giants. And I think Nick Sirianni, you can't do anything more than be undefeated. You can't do anything more than be undefeated. That's why he's third. The job that the other two guys are doing is just more inexplicable. So that's why I think they have great coaching. There you go. NFL preseason predictions review and awards review. So definitely we got that for you squared away. All right. Let's go to Big Five. The 5 biggest games on the schedule this week. So 25-20 for the year, 3 wins last week. Bills and Vikings. Will the Bills have Josh Allen in this big game? They may have to play the backup quarterback there and go against the Vikings team only with 1 loss. Are the Vikings for real? I hope Josh Allen plays so we can find out more about the Vikings. Because this is Kirk Cousins. He's not been as good this year, but they've been winning. So let's see how he does in the game. I'm not sure Josh Allen's going to play. They may rest him. But let's see if he can win a game. I'm really looking forward to seeing if he can win a game like this. Because they've won the division, I think. I think the Bills have more to play for. I think they want to stay in the home field advantage thing. So I'm going to take the Bills if that's what Allen plays. Absolutely. Oh, the Bucks and the Seahawks. Seahawks been a better team. I think Geno Smith has played better than Tom Brady, as weird as that is to say. I like their run game a lot. The Bucks aren't going to win this game because they can't stop the run. Look, if you're going to beat Seattle, a Pete Carroll team, you're going to stop the run. I don't see how the Bucks are going to do that with the way it's looked this year. The defense, I think, has some good players, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop the run. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, very good for Seattle. Eliminator game. 2 teams have been disappointing, but they're trying to turn it back around. Rams and Cardinals. So the Rams and the Cardinals. I like Rams here. Cardinals, I can't keep picking the Cardinals. I think the Rams, I know what their problem is. They're getting pushed around up front. On defense, though, I think there's some help. Bobby Wagner's there. Aaron Donald there is the beast. And you have you have Jalen Ramsey. So I think there's hope there. Offensively, I don't know if you're going to score enough points going forward, but I think you got enough here. McCarthy back in Green Bay. He wants to win this game, something awful. I mean, him beating Aaron Rodgers, he would love it, and he's going to. Packers just don't have it. They're not scoring enough points, and the defense isn't good enough to beat a good team like Dallas. Dallas gets a lot of. I think Dallas is good. I think they have good players. I think like McCarthy, for whatever reason, he's not in their anointed good coach category for Biolab for whatever reason. He's got a good winning record. he wins it wherever he goes. So definitely Green Bay. I think Green Bay. I think it'll be interesting to see when they lose this game, how they react. I think there's going to be some changes coming if they don't turn it around soon. And the Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers and the Niners, I think, outside of the first game, best two games, I think this might be one of the better games on the schedule. I got to go with the Niners at home. Niners, they're physical. I like it. They run the ball. They have McCaffrey there now. Their line, I think Trent Williams may be the best left tackle in the league. Their offense kind of goes as Garoppolo goes. What type of days he's going to have? And the Chargers are man, they're inexplicable at times. It's kind of like I put them in Cincinnati in the same category. Why aren't you elite with all the players you have? Why aren't you winning? Why aren't you more decisive? Why aren't you? I kind of ask that with the Chargers a lot, as good as they are. So I kind of wonder that with the Chargers. So I'm taking the Niners. And this one, there you go. Big 5. All right, and be sure to check out all the games this week. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and stop this one, and we're going to go ahead and give you a part 2. And in that part 2, we're going to talk about baseball as well. We're going to talk about World Series. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to preview Orioles free agents. All right. So if you're watching this one, go ahead and click on the part 2. Happy to go ahead and go over that with all